The cheetah above the bathroom door wasn't supposed to blink, but it did. Then its jaw moved, and it asked me a question no dead animal should ever be able to ask. Was I predator, or was I prey? By the time the lion in the foyer started talking too, I understood exactly what that old man kept in his house. Not trophies. Witnesses. I got that quote from my friend over Discord, on one of those gray days where the clouds hang low enough to touch. He who makes a beast of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man. Samuel Johnson wrote that. My friend sent it to me without context, and I understood it anyway, because by that point I'd spent weeks, maybe months, running the same loop. Wake up. Smoke enough weed to go quiet inside. Wait for the dark to settle over my head, the way it always did. Happy with my life? No. Relieved when my brain finally shut up? Completely. The moment that first hit of smoke hit my lungs, something in me went numb. And that numbness became the only blanket I trusted. Hard to regret a life you're too far gone to notice you're living. I knew it was wrong. I knew every day was one more day wasted. My parents told me so, constantly, in that special language parents use where concern and insult wear the same coat. I heard it and I didn't care. My own awareness of the mess I was in worked like a weapon and a shield at once, ready to defend the peace I'd built, or attack anyone who tried to take it from me. From the outside, nothing looked wrong. Small southern town. Standard family, 2 parents, 2 kids, a house with a mowed lawn. That was the shell. Inside was a different story entirely. My father spent his whole life trying to be better than his own father. A man who'd beaten him and left him carrying trauma nobody should have to carry. What came out the other side of that effort was someone who treated the simple act of not hitting his kids like it made him a saint. He didn't need his fists. The words did plenty of damage on their own. My mother wasn't much better off. She was scared of him the same way we were. But somewhere she decided the only control she had left was to lose control completely. And she did, in restaurants and parking lots, anywhere, over nothing. I lost count of how many times I mouthed sorry to a waitress after one of her episodes. My sister didn't make things worse, but she didn't make them better either. Same prison, different cell. The warden just liked her more. She got a fraction of the abuse I did because she fit the shape our father had already carved out for her. Porcelain, perfect his. Outside that house there were a few good things. School friends were one of them. The school itself wasn't. Kindergarten through senior year, same building. A private Southern Baptist school built to manufacture exactly 2 outcomes. Kids who loved Christ with the intensity of a cult, or kids the school could point at and call proof the devil was real. When you're locked up mentally and physically, you learn to survive on scraps. My friends were my scraps. Most of them I still talk to, here and there, even now. One of them, though, I haven't said a real word to him since he left in high school. I'll call him Jonathan. Keeps things simple. He'd been at that school as long as I had. Quiet, into the same nerdy stuff I was, which is probably why we clicked. We hung around each other at school constantly. Outside of school, almost never. That changed on one specific afternoon, and I remember it the way you remember a bad dream that keeps coming back. The final bell rang and Jonathan found me at my locker. And something about his face was wrong before he even opened his mouth. Every step toward me looked like it cost him something. Hey, I wanted to ask if you wanted to come over to my grandparents' place today. I shut my locker. My face must have given away more confusion than I meant to show, because he flinched the second he saw it. I knew it was a stupid question. Sorry for bothering you. He turned and started walking off toward the exit, lighter on his feet now, almost like relief. I should have read that. Instead, my teenage brain latched onto one thought. Don't let your friend down. Wait up, man. Your grandparents need help with something? Made sense to me. Why else invite a friend over to your grandparents' house? He turned back and closed the distance between us. And when he spoke, his voice dropped low, like the whole hallway was suddenly listening. Yeah, my grandma's out of town, asked if I could bring someone to help clean and sort some stuff while she's gone. Sure, I've got to be home before dark, but as long as my parents can grab me or somebody can drop me off, I'm in. He let out a breath. And if you'd been standing there, you'd have known exactly which answer he was hoping for. I missed it completely. He turned toward the exit and waved me on, and I followed. We walked for a couple minutes. The heat sat on everything, thick and wet, the kind that makes every breath cost you something extra. I remembered my inhaler was sitting on the kitchen counter at home, and cursed myself for it. Then Jonathan just stopped, dead still on the sidewalk facing away from the road. I caught up and followed his eyes. What we were looking at was a long driveway lined with trees, leading up to a house that the shadows had basically swallowed whole. It looked pulled out of a fairy tale, the bad kind. The trees stood in rows too perfect to be natural, each one throwing a long shadow down the drive. The house itself climbed 3 stories, but narrow, like it had been squeezed onto a shelf instead of a street. Painted a flat dark gray, and every time a shadow crossed it, it seemed to disappear into something closer to black. Jonathan stepped into that shadow first. I hung back a second. Every instinct I had screamed at me not to follow, like I was about to step into something's open mouth. My feet went anyway, and every step dragged me a little further into that dread. "Hey, Jonathan, it always feel this creepy out here." He stopped walking. For a second, his face looked like he was about to say something important. He swallowed it instead and stepped closer to me. "Just be ready, all right? My grandfather's been an odd guy his whole life. First time and there is a lot." He turned back toward the house. I followed him to the front door, tall, dark wood curved at the top like something out of a church. Jonathan knocked. From inside came shuffling, then the heavy grind of a deadbolt turning over. The man who opened it was small and thin. Skin stretched so tight over his bones, it looked like it might tear if you touched it wrong. His eyes were pale, tired, half-lidded. He stepped back and waved us in with a hand that curled like a bird's talon. "Don't just stand there like a pair of sheep. Get in, shoes off, put him under the banister." He pointed with that same clawed hand toward a spiral staircase. My eyes never made it that far. The foyer, and every room past it that I could see, was packed wall to wall with taxidermy. Dozens of animals, maybe more. They covered every surface that could hold weight. A bobcat crouched over the doorway to the living room. Zebra heads lined the hall, eyes black as their hides. A baby tiger sat curled by the fireplace like somebody's pet. 2 pieces owned the room though. A lion, jaw stretched wide, frozen mid-snarl. And behind it, the real centerpiece. An elephant cut off at the middle, standing almost 12 feet tall, tusks long enough that you instinctively kept your distance even though it was dead. Oh yeah, that's good old boy Atlas. Shot him down in the summer of '68. Real tusks and everything. Got him before the whole world went soft and banned the ivory trade. The old man said it with actual pride, patting the tusk the way some men pat a classic car. Then he turned and scowled at me, and I clearly wasn't hiding my face fast enough. "Looks like you brought a fairy with you, Jonathan." He said it flat, like a fact, then turned and walked stiffly toward the living room, waving a hand at us without looking back. "Your grandmother told you what to do. Don't break anything. Don't touch the animals." A second later, a TV clicked on somewhere. Infomercials, and under that, the low grumble of a man too lazy to find the remote. Jonathan led me up to the 3rd floor, into a room stacked ceiling high with boxes and filing cabinets. He pulled a box off a pile and started digging through it. "Alright, so all we gotta do is sort through these and eventually the P." "What in the hell was that, man?" "Eccentric is somebody who dresses funny. You could have warned me better than that." Jonathan blew out a breath, shut the box, and stood up. He started pacing in the little gap between the boxes and the cabinets. "I know, man. He's a weird guy. You didn't have to come." I stepped up, annoyed, and shoved a finger into his chest. "No, this isn't on me. You could have mentioned your grandfather used to be Craven the Hunter, but you kept that one to yourself." His face went red, jaw tight. He shoved me back hard, and I stumbled into a filing cabinet. It went over with a crash loud enough to make my ears ring. He stepped in and jabbed a finger back at my chest. "He's my grandfather, you jerk. Watch what you say about my family. Now pick up the papers you knocked out, you little coward." I'd hit something raw in him. I knew I should apologize. I didn't. I clicked my tongue and dropped to gather the scattered pages. Most of it was nothing. Old receipts, forms, until I found a manila folder wrapped tight with thick rubber bands. Heavier than it looked. The second I touched them, both bands snapped at once. I told myself, put it back, don't look. I ignored myself instead. I opened the folder and found a stack of documents, and on top, a plastic bag. Inside the bag, photographs and a smaller white paper bag tucked in with them. I glanced at Jonathan. Still fuming, still not looking my way. "Won't hurt to take a peek," I muttered. I opened the plastic bag and a puff of decades-old dust hit my face. I held back a sneeze, pulled out the smaller bag, set it on a box, and started flipping through the photos. The first few showed Jonathan's grandfather, young, sharp-jawed, grinning in a Navy uniform in front of a ship. As I kept flipping, the photos aged him. Service, a wedding, kids. Then came the first hint of something else. Same man, older now, scruffy, standing with a group of men, all of them holding rifles. More photos of the men drinking, laughing together. Then the tone shifted again. Photo after photo of him standing over dead animals. Eventually, one of him perched on top of his prize. Atlas. Every photo, his smile got a little wider. It was almost funny how much he seemed to enjoy it. Dozens of shots of him beside carcasses. I kept going until I hit the last few in the stack. Same bright smile. Same man kneeling, this time holding up a head by the hair. A young man's head. No older than me. My stomach turned over and bile hit the back of my throat. I forced it down, terrified Jonathan would hear. I jammed the photos back into the bag and the bag into the folder. I wanted out. I wanted to be anywhere but that house, forever. I opened my mouth to tell Jonathan we needed to leave, and then the small white paper bag caught my eye again. Just leave it. That thought screamed louder than anything else in my head. I didn't listen. I grabbed the bag, slid it into my pocket, walked over and put a hand on Jonathan's shoulder. He jumped. Hey, I need the bathroom. Where's it at? He looked annoyed. Second floor. Door with the cheetah over it. Of course it is. I went down, found the cheetah, locked myself in the bathroom and sat on the edge of the tub. I opened the bag. Inside was a thin silver chain with a green stone carved into a small mask. I turned it over in my fingers. It was cold, colder than a stone sitting in a warm house had any business being. A shiver ran through me before I could stop it. I'd seen something like it in one of the photos. I slipped it into my pocket, unlocked the door, and stepped back out into the hall. Are you predator or are you prey? I froze. I could have sworn I heard a voice. I looked down the empty hallway and shook my head. I'm losing it in this house, I muttered, heading for the stairs. Your prey, definitely. Nothing like the young man from before. I turned toward the bathroom door. The cheetah that had been frozen over the frame. Its eyes were blinking now. Its jaw moved. My head went light, like the floor had tilted slightly under me. Oh, don't look so pale, boy. I'm a dead animal. You're a living one. What's there to be scared of? I stood there with my mouth open, no words coming. The cheetah turned its head slowly, side to side, taking in the hallway, then its own frozen body. I took one step back toward the stairs. Please, don't leave me alone here again. The man who shot me down did something to keep me tied to this body. Will you help me? I stepped back down a little closer instead. I don't think I'm in any position to help you. What could I even do? Its eyes narrowed, annoyed. You'll free our souls from these bodies. The man who killed us used that amulet, the one in your pocket, to draw us in before he slaughtered us. You'll use it the same way. Kill the devil in human skin. Free us. I grabbed the handrail to steady myself. Did it just ask me to kill Jonathan's grandfather? My hand drifted toward my pocket. At least hear the others first. Listen to what they went through, then decide if it means anything to you. If it doesn't, leave the amulet and walk out that door. But if you feel even a sliver of pity for us, end him, take him out of this world the same way he took us out of ours. I'm guessing us means the rest of the animals. The cheetah's mouth curled into something close to a smile. A low, satisfied sound rumbled somewhere in its chest. Correct, boy. The old man's asleep this hour. You'll be free to talk to the others. Walking down those stairs felt like moving through a dream. I told myself over and over that I was imagining a talking cheetah, that I just needed to get outside and breathe real air. At the bottom I heard snoring, low and steady. Lucky guess on my part, I told myself, reaching for the door handle. Another man who ignores our cries. Why does that not surprise me? I turned around. The lion in the foyer was speaking now, jaw working, eyes blinking rapidly like something waking up after a very long sleep. I didn't ask for this. I'm not even related to that man. Just let me walk out of here. Nobody's stopping you. Your feet are the only thing in charge of that. The air in that room felt thin, dry, wrong. I let out a breath. I told the cheetah I'd hear you out. Fine, that much I'll give you. You talk about knowledge like it's something you can just set back down on a shelf. Are you that weak-willed? My jaw tightened. I'm not weak-willed. I'm a person and you've got my attention. That's it. The lion laughed low and rough. If it were only curiosity, you'd have turned around long before you got this far. He killed me decades ago. Him and his pack of devils hunted me for weeks, tore my whole pride apart before they ever got to me. Its voice cracked just slightly. You know what it's like to watch your own child skinned and tossed aside like garbage? Watching those animals cut her apart, laughing, taking her fur for a coat? My child, turned into clothing. The lion's voice rose, shook the walls around us. Behind it, other heads on the walls started to twitch, life crawling back into glass eyes. They came back for me at night, roped me, cut into me while I was still breathing. I screamed and nobody came. That old bastard walked up while I was bleeding out and pressed a gun to my skull and put me down like I was nothing. The rest of the room stirred to life. Zebras wailed, remembering hands clapping and laughing while they died. A bobcat cried about days of being tortured for someone's entertainment. The baby tiger called out for a mother who was never going to answer. That old man heard every one of those cries. He enjoyed them. He took hundreds of lives and every one of them begged for a mercy he never gave. Are you going to ignore us too? Walk away or give us what we're asking for? The screaming filled every corner of my mind. Every voice stacked on top of the last one until there was no space left to think clearly. I don't know what to do. Their voices poured into me, and something like righteous fury took root where my own thoughts should have been. My body started moving on its own. Slay the devil. They said it together, one voice made of 100, and it took hold of my arms and legs like a puppet string. I found myself standing behind the sleeping old man, hands rising toward his throat. No, I can't do this. I stumbled back. My whole body felt like it had turned to lead, something pulling me down toward the floor. A deep sound rolled in from the foyer, low enough to feel in my chest before I even heard it. I didn't need to turn around. I already knew. Atlas, you ignore our pleas and you show mercy to a devil. That makes you no better than he is. The voice was enormous and it filled my skull like it refused to leave room for anything else. My heart was hammering so hard I thought it might actually stop. Lower your head. Accept what's coming, man-devil. You'll never know peace again. Even after you're gone, what you choose tonight will follow you. Something crashed down on the back of my skull. Pressure like a full-grown animal had planted its weight right there. I cried out, and in pure panic I ripped the necklace out of my pocket and threw it hard at the wall. It hit with a crack. Then nothing. Just the infomercials playing somewhere and the old man snoring, steady as before. I looked around. Every animal was frozen again, exactly how it had always been. The old man jolted awake. What in the hell are you doing down here? His eyes dropped to the broken necklace on the floor. What did you do? He was up and coming at me before I could answer. I was already moving for the door. He screamed after me the whole way down that dark driveway, and every step away from that house felt like winning something. Hours later, my mom found me. I'd wandered the streets until I finally broke down and called her, crying too hard to explain anything that made sense. Jonathan never came back to school after that day. I've seen him online here and there since. Ran into him once years later. It was short, awkward, neither of us brought it up. Even now, when I drive past that house, something cold climbs straight up my spine. Time's moved on since then, but I still feel watched. Every animal I pass, deer on the roadside, squirrels in a yard, birds on a wire, seems to look at me carrying the same quiet anger, like it's been passed down from somewhere I can't see. I don't sleep well without hearing those voices somewhere underneath everything else. Some nights I wish it really had just been a dream. At least then, maybe, the noise in my head would finally stop. If a story like this got under your skin the way it got under mine, that's exactly what this channel's built for. Subscribe if you want more of these waiting for you.